Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Swampcast podcast. My name is Mr. S. Today, I wanted to discuss with you our code of conduct as members of a group or of the group. Um, those things are what they discuss with us, what they don't discuss with us, do's and don'ts as a member, and what we can do. And so this isn't overly complicated, but it is important for every member of the groups. And, this is the rules that we have. We don't know about what other groups, do. We don't know if they're privileged to more information than we are. These are things that we don't discuss. So, I don't know everything. I mean, I have been doing this for 11 years, but I don't know what I don't know, you know? So I just wanted to go over these things with you. So if you have any questions in your mind while you're listening to this podcast, maybe this will help you. Okay, so one of the first things is that what we don't do, or what they don't discuss is member names or disclose who other extraterrestrial beings are outside of the ones that you will personally meet. And I've met many, but outside of that, we don't know who anybody is. And I do know that many are members within our society. So we don't know who they are, and we don't discuss any of that. So we also don't discuss members' names. So we're members of a group. So if I know you and we're on the same, ship together, for no reason will I go out ever and say your name. Even if you tell me I can. We're not restricted to a lot. We're really not restricted to anything. But if you do give me your information, see, like, we're on the same craft together, and nobody is under any obligation to share their personal information. They're also not restricted to not sharing. Like, if I want to give you my phone number and my email address or whatever, I can do that. And we do. But nobody is under any obligation to do so. Some people don't want to talk. And, but if I do have your information for no reason, even if you tell me to, can I share your material, or your personal information? It's just something we don't do, because sometimes people in the beginning are super enthusiastic and they want to, they talk about it, and they're like, no, you can say, we can talk about this. But then later on, they realize the repercussions of their actions, and they regret their choice, right? So it's just one of the things that we don't do. So we're never going to discuss anybody's names. And obviously they don't tell us who is who for obvious reasons, right? You never know what a group member is going to do later on. So that sort of information isn't shared. Also, it's about privacy. The next thing is, they don't tell us why they choose the members that they pick to go up, right? So they don't tell you why they choose a specific person. Now, again, we're not restricted or prevented from speaking with each other and asking each other questions. And I'll just say that the reason why I think that they don't tell us why they pick us is because if we did, or if they did, then we would tell other people, and then they would know exactly what to do, and maybe it would just muddy the water. That's our best guess. So they don't tell us why they choose specific members. And this is the most important thing that I'm going to say, is that they don't talk about material science. They don't talk about propulsion technology, base locations or exact locations where habited planets are within our galaxy. So those things, and I'm just saying this, that within our group, they've never discussed that with us. We have absolutely no idea, but we do discuss why we don't know this information. And this is a huge topic. And it 100% makes sense, but I can't discuss it. This is just a certain, like a do and a don't and a code of conduct. But I will absolutely talk about the reasons for that later, which are incredibly, incredibly important. But it's a long conversation, many episodes, I would say, right? So they don't talk about material science, propulsion technology, where the bases are, a little bit, and the exact locations of their planets. So that's really it for what they don't discuss with us. Really, everything else is pretty much an open book. So the do's and the don'ts, or I should say the don'ts. The first thing is we don't discuss pickups. And what I mean by that is we get picked up, right? Imagine it's a big school bus, because it's a big school bus. We call it I'll tell you what we call it later, but we call it the school bus, basically. So we don't discuss pickups. We don't discuss any information that goes into how we're going to get picked up, because that is, what we have to do at some point. I can say that depending upon your location, where you're living, you might be in for a little bit of a drive and a little cloak and dagger. It's usually not cloak and dagger, but a little bit sometimes. It just depends on where you're living and the situation. So we don't discuss pickups, and that is as much as I can say about that. One of the things that when you are being picked up is that first, never bring anybody with you, unless you are a couple, which I've only seen a few couples. So you don't bring anybody who they haven't said, you've gone through this before with them, the whole experience. So you never bring anybody with you. And let me start by saying they're not stupid, okay? There's a little a catch on this one, but they have really great, highly sophisticated, and they're very smart radar technology. So they know, okay? This isn't, well, this is actually part of the reason why some people are with us and then they're not with us. We usually don't discuss it, but some of the stuff is a little bit discussed. But a lot of the reasons why some people just are replaced is because of this particular reason, which I guess we could probably discuss later. But don't ever bring anybody with you, and don't ever think that they're stupid, because please, please, their tech is way superior to ours. Also, this is a good one, right? So no electronic equipment, no cell phones, cameras, or anything with GPS. When you first start, before you first start, this information is disclosed to you, all right? So first of all, don't do that, because they're not hiding necessarily. I mean, a little bit, but they're not hiding. It's just that you don't want to be identifying people, because that's the problem. That's the only real super secrecy in this is that some people are, we're within society, or I won't say we, but they, they're in society. So, that really messes up a lot of issues or a lot of things. So don't try to do that. But also, again, They have very sophisticated technology. And I'm just going to go over this. I might have talked a little bit about it before, but even if you did bring a camera or any electronic equipment onto a craft, it doesn't work. Okay? It just doesn't work. Their systems are much, much different than what we currently have, right? They're much more sophisticated. These are parts of the things that they don't discuss, right? They don't talk about their real serious technology. Like we're not privileged to that information. And even if they did, I wouldn't have any freaking idea what they're talking about because I'm not an engineer or a scientist. But I can tell you this, that if you were standing far enough away from their craft and you did have a camera, it's not going to take a good picture. I can explain this really very well. The way that their crafts operate is by creating artificial gravity, right? But that artificial gravity bends light around it. And so if you're close enough to the craft, your camera is either not going to work or it's just going to take a blurry photo. And as you get further away from the craft, it actually takes a worse photo. And the further away, even if you're looking at it with your eyes, the further away you get from the craft, if you're looking like almost straight on or sort of at an angle, like from down to an up trajectory, you can't see it that well. Again, something for a later episode, but this is actually science, that we know of. It's just funny that, everybody keeps questioning, like, why doesn't anybody get a good photograph of a UFO? Oh, it's not complicated, gravity bends light. It's as simple as that. Now, if you're over the craft, then you're going to get a better view of it. That is just true, right? You're going to get a better view of it, but it's still distorting light. So you'll get a better view of it with your eyes, but camera technology just isn't nearly as good as your own personal eyes, right? Your eyes have a megapixel rating of something like 676 megapixel or something like that. We're still in like 35 megapixel or somewhere around there. I don't know what it is. Maybe the military's got more advanced ones, but still nowhere even close to the resolution of the human eye. The other thing about GPS or having people come with you, which is kind of the little catch part, is that they go by a rule of you are your own keeper. So, while we're not prevented from talking about this or discussing literally anything outside of names and, other personally identifying information, you're responsible to make sure that I don't know how else best to say at this particular moment is that, you don't want to have people following you. Again, their technology is far superior to ours. Like their radar technology, infrared technology, so many things is so much better than ours that they know within a very far radius of who might be around there. And that's the catch, right? Like it's not always your fault. So if you're talking about this and somebody, tracks you and they follow you. So this is the thing that we don't talk about, right? We don't discuss pickups or how it happens. So I can't say anything about that, but they'll know. And, I always say that they make judgment calls, but they usually know whether or not, you have somebody who is, following you for that reason. So that's sort of the catch, because I don't know if that's always the case. I'm sure people, I know people have come come out with it before, and then that has sort of been an issue. Um, but I think this kind of goes into something that I really can't discuss, but I'm just throwing that out there. So if you're wondering about that, because, if you imagine that you're talking about this and then you're going to get some people that are following you sometimes, or, if that's why we try to maintain our secrecy and privacy. And that's why a lot of people don't want to come out with it. For part of this reason is that, people who want to stay and keep doing this and they keep learning, and you realize how much information and how it affects you, and not just your life, but beyond that, you want to keep doing this. So a lot of people don't want to discuss it because they're afraid of, people following them. I mean, let's be honest. It's definitely a hot topic. So, yeah, that's it for that. So what we can discuss, I think I already said it, but we can discuss everything. Actually, it is, they want us to talk about it. This is a huge thing, right? They don't want us to not talk about it. They're trying to help us. I mean, there are reasons why they're trying to help us. Again, another topic for a really long conversations, but there are very logical reasons why they're here, why they want to help us, and it's evolution. It is our personal evolution. So, obviously, there's a lot of issues with this sort of topic because it kind of changes, I would say, everything. Not everything, but a lot of things. Although not like you would think, but people overreact. Humans overreact at this stage in our development or our redevelopment. We overreact to everything and we fight about everything. So, changing the way that people think isn't the easiest thing in the world to do because we're kind of stupid. I mean, not all of us, right? But people do some dumb stuff. They are irrational at this moment. And again, there's reasons for that and all, but we're not prevented. It's just most of us, nearly all of us. And there are people talking about it, but they're kind of like beating around the bush and give some information, but not everything. They don't say that they're doing it, but they are, that is a portion because people, it's not like I haven't met a lot of people doing this. So we can discuss anything. The things that they don't want us to know, they never talk to us about. But like I said earlier, I don't know if that is the case with everybody, right? I know within my group, because I'm with them most of the time, that this isn't something that they discuss. So whether or not other groups discuss it, I don't know. I just know that within, my 11 years, they've never discussed those certain things. So don't ask me what the propulsion technology is or how it works. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a material scientist. I don't know. I do know like the elements, some of them. I do know the basics. I know how to maneuver the crafts. I mean, this is something that we do. We get to do some pretty cool shit. Pardon my language. But, I don't know any of that. Like, if you were like, tell me where they are. I mean, like, I could point you in a direction. Good luck. I mean, I'll point out planetary systems. But that's a pretty wide area, So those are things that we do know. Like I said, nothing else is hidden from us. It's literally almost as much as we can ask questions, and then we discuss with each other. But also the last thing is nobody is under any obligation to continue going up. And when I say going up, I also mean going in. So just, to clarify that. But I say going up because it's easier, because we do go up most of the time. But no one is under any obligation to continue doing this. And I think that's a lot of the reason why. There's two main reasons why people stop going. So we have a group, and I'll say about 20 people, a little less than 20 people out of 50, have been doing this for nearly as long as I have. Between like 7 and the 11 years that I've been doing this. But I know one couple that has been doing it for over 40 years. It's a couple, man and wife. Really, really the best people ever. Can you imagine all the information they have? But most of us are, we have it's less than half, but the ones that keep coming in and out, most of them are because of two reasons. One, they just can't handle it, or they don't want to be involved in it like they thought they wanted to. And two, because of people, bringing somebody else to a pickup location or a general pickup location, and they know, and then they have zero tolerance for this. We don't have many rules, do's and don'ts. There's not very many, but that is a big one, for obvious reasons, right? So I think that's a big portion. The rest of it, why people kind of come and go, I don't really know. So, I don't really want to know, to be honest. But that's it. That's our code of conduct. It's actually quite simple. And yeah, I hope this was informative. And I wanted to do this one before I do the part 2 of the meeting experience, because I just think it comes a little bit before it, because, what I learned before I did the first pickup, I learned some of this information, or a percentage of it, most of it actually. So I just wanted to go over that. I'm trying to do this in order, So yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.